What's going on, awesome people? It is Wednesday, March 22nd. Welcome to episode 12 of Countdown to Freedom in Iran. I would like to first and foremost wish everybody Nowruz Piruz. Even though I certainly know that it was certainly not a normal Nowruz. I hope that in some shape or form you were able to enjoy this special day for us. And hopefully you spent it with loved ones, with great friends, with people that give you love and positivity and great energy and that lift you up. And I really hope that this is our year that brings us health, wealth, and a free Iran. How about a free Iran? Huh? Can I get a sab sefit qermez, a green, white, red? If you believe that this is the year where we have freedom in Iran, freedom for our people, joy and happiness for our people, that's what I'm looking forward to. And I also want to take a moment and thank any of you that dropped in at any point of our Celebration of Nowruz live stream. It was a 12-hour program that it was an amazing time for me. We had so many people, amazing people that dropped in as special guests, and our Uniters family for sure represented, and we had several individuals that really helped out throughout the entire program, and I'm very appreciative of their help. It's a great program tonight. If you don't know, our special guest is the one and only Chelsea Hart. Drop some hearts for Chelsea Hart, because she has certainly been giving her heart for our revolution. She's given her heart for our people. She has given everything you could possibly ask of a non-Iranian to help our cause. It's incredible. It's really incredible what she's done. We've been wanting to have her on for quite some time, and I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did. So I hope you're excited to see her later on. When she does come, please shower her with the love that she so deservingly should be getting from everybody. Without any further ado, it's time to get this program started. So help me welcome another amazing lady. Her name is Paris Mansouri. You might have heard of her. Every single week she comes prepared. One of our favorite journalists. Give her a nice round of applause. Here we go. Paris Mansouri, à la Montréal.
Hello.
Hello, Paris.
Happy New Year again.
Nowruz shama piruz.
Nowruz Piruz.
Wonderful to see you. I know you're enjoying Montreal with one of your favorite Uniters,
Yeah.
Mona. I hope that's been fun.
Mona Jun is here. I'm not getting to spend as much time as I want to with her, but we had a lovely day yesterday when she arrived, and hopefully more this weekend.
Sure, great. I never thought that she'd be going to see you in Montreal before you come down to see us in Miami, but good for her for going to go visit the beautiful city of Montreal.
Good for her adventurous spirit that should invite and that should inspire other Uniters, just saying.
Right. Now, first of all, I consider Montreal as one of the most underrated cities on earth, especially summertime, and especially if your tour guide and person you're going to go see is Paris Mansouri. So, Paris, we have a jam-packed day. We got a great program with some really special individuals from, of course, Chelsea Hart, but also Shiva Saber to give us a Uniters Minute. And we got Dr. Sam that's going to be giving us a the stress talk is going to be in town. But you are going to be talking about what's been happening now that we're on day 187. It seems that there are rumblings about upset members of the IRGC. There seems to be cracks showing. So can you kind of let me know what you know?
So I have not seen like the official news, but I do follow a lot of different individuals who are knowledgeable on different topics. And one of them, his name is Arash Azizi. His handle is Arash_Tehran. And he has put together some newspaper clippings of interviews of different individuals who are members of the IRGC or who are members of the government or who have been members of the government. And there seems to be discord, according to a few of the some of the information that he's pulled. One of them, and I'm quoting here, it says, Mohammad Saad, he's a former deputy foreign minister, told a newspaper that Iran and the Islamic regime have never been as isolated as they are in the past 40 plus years of existence. And he points out how regime opponents, not officials, are now invited to Davos and Munich, as an example, as we saw in at some of the events in the past months. And there's somebody else who is a former ambassador to Germany, Brazil, and Japan. He's saying how furious he is for how Iran and the Islamic regime are now completely isolated, and that they're very pro-Kremlin and anti-Ukrainian policies are hurting them internationally. So now we're seeing individuals who do have some clout in those inner circles who are, coming out and quote unquote being courageous in their opposition. Let's see what happens to them.
Yeah, I really hope that's not fake news, because if that is real, this is what we've been waiting for, is for people to convert, or basically, what's the correct word? Like the
crumble on itself.
Well, that too. No, but there's a word when it deflect. I guess
okay.
There's a word. But yeah, crumbling too. درست was Sarah Khamenei. But Saudi Arabia has invited Iran's President Raisi to visit. Do we need to be worried?
No. So that was the news last week. The news this week is that what they're doing is they're going to set time to meet. They haven't confirmed when they're going to meet. It's basically a way for both. Basically, they've agreed that they're going to make peace. Now, they haven't said on what date. They have said that their embassies are going to reopen in the next 2 months. We don't have a set date yet. And for anyone wondering why Iran and the Islamic Republic don't get along, it's because Saudi Arabia cut ties back in January 2016 after members of the Islamic regime stormed their embassy. And the reason Iran or the Islamic regime says they did that is because Saudi Arabia executed a Shia cleric that they said was convicted on terror-related charges.
You're right, I got ahead of myself here. But the U.S. has targeted the Iranian drone industry. What impact does that actually have?
Yeah, so this is the latest round of sanctions by President Biden.
Okay.
Let's see if these sanctions.
I need to hear more. Okay, yes.
So basically, they're targeting firms and individuals accused of buying drone parts on behalf of the Iranian government. The U.S. Department of Treasury says it's targeted a quote-unquote procurement network that operates on behalf of Iran's Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces. Basically, this means that they're targeting entities and they will be denied access to any U.S. property or financial assets held in the country. And U.S. companies are also prohibited from doing any business with these people who are buying drone parts. Thank you, Biden administration. This is exactly the kind of sanctions we've been asking for.
I'm sure this is coming like on the heels of all the news coming out that Russia's been using these drones to kill Ukrainian children. This is all where it's coming from?
Yes.
Okay.
But, all the news coming across of, them smuggling, them selling oil and making tons of money and then torturing and killing Iranians, that's no sanctions there.
Right. We're still waiting for those.
Yes.
The jury is still out for that one. Okay. A UN expert has warned the Iranian authorities have committed violations since protests erupted last year that may amount to crimes against humanity. Yes. What more do you have about that?
If I'm looking to the side, by the way, I didn't mention this where I have my notes, and I just want to make sure that I'm being extremely factually correct with the information that we share. So this special rapporteur, his name is Javed Rahman, and he says that the most serious human rights violations in the Islamic Republic of Iran over the past 4 decades have been committed since the death in police custody of Jina Mahsa Amini on September 16, 2022. And considering we know the atrocities that the Islamic regime has been behind for the past 44 plus years, for him to say that the worst of them have happened since September 2022 is pretty terrifying. So he made that statement back on Monday. He told the UN Human Rights Council that he was alarmed by the scale and the gravity of, quote, the reported cases of murder, imprisonment, enforced disappearance, torture, rape, and persecution. He called for an international fact-finding mission to investigate them, as you mentioned. But as we know, a couple of months ago, the UN has said that they're going to investigate. So I don't know why they now, 4 months later, need somebody else to say that there's something really awful going on in Iran and we should investigate. But yes, let's please have more special envoys do more research and say, an investigation is needed. By the way, the Iranian ambassador has responded on behalf of the Islamic regime. In case you guys care what he says that these allegations read like a tragic novel. He also accused this UN special rapporteur of relying on Western government media outlets and terrorist groups who portray their imaginations as the reality of the human rights situation in Iran. In case anybody cared what the Islamic regime had to say.
Yeah, let's count on the factual Iran news. Absolutely. England has sanctioned senior officials from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. What are the details?
Yeah, so this news came out on Monday from Reuters. It includes those who it said were responsible for managing the group's financial investments. We're getting somewhere, but let's see if it actually gets enforced. The sanctions include an asset freeze and a UK travel ban. They were imposed on five members of the board of directors of the IRGC Cooperative Foundation and 2 senior IRGC commanders. Of the tens of thousands, Iman Jun, 5 plus 2.
They're not trying to like designate the entire group. They're just kind of going after individuals, and they're probably low-level people, even though it says senior officials.
Yes.
And
that's how we do.
This is the one that there was some rumors. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that like the Biden administration was trying to block the UK from like putting some kind of sanctions or designating the IRGC as a terrorist group. Is this what he was trying to block, or is he trying to block something? Have you heard about that?
Yes. So the Biden administration obviously has not, first of all, they're not enforcing their own sanctions that have been placed since a previous administration. So we know that part. We know that they're continuing and dealing with oil, and any G7 nation that places any kind of sanction on basically when you have agreements with the G7 nations, so the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, Germany, France, like all of these nations, once one of them imposes a sanction, it kind of like puts like handcuffs on everybody else, because then everybody else kind of has to be mindful of the sanctions that are already in place, which is kind of what we've discussed with Saudi Arabia and Iran coming together, because Saudi Arabia now has to tread the sanctions line as well that everybody else is towing. So yes, the Biden administration tries to do their best to enforce. Obviously, there's lobby groups on the other side that are trying to push forward certain interests. So like you said, they cannot, I mean, it would go against what the American government and the Canadian government have done, which is not list or not really apply any of the sanctions. So they're going a bit at a time. But you have to understand the IRGC is like a major mafia network that's running the nation. We're not talking about 10 or 12 people. We're talking about tens of thousands of people and their families that are completely benefiting from Iran's oil and just making a free for all and making a run for it to countries like Canada.
Yay. Well, listen, in the defense of the Biden administration, they've been super busy putting together a Nowruz event, so.
Okay. But by the way, they didn't even serve dinner, so I don't know what they were planning that they've been so busy with.
It was get in, get out, let's take pictures, make a video. You think they actually cared about hospitality? Okay, let's go. Australia's foreign minister and Iran's minister had a phone call, and there are 2 different accounts for how it went.
Okay. This is where it gets really interesting, and this is where you really have to weigh in the news that you take in. Because I read about this from the Islamic Republic News Agency, and according to them, Penny Wong, who's Australia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, called the continuation of dialogue and diplomacy between Iran and Australia important. And then she congratulated her Iranian counterpart about Nowruz and said we should keep the path of diplomacy open to resolve misunderstandings. Now, I was shocked. I'm like, did Australia really say that? So then I went to, Australian news outlets, and they said that that's not what she said at all. She raised concerns over the use of the death penalty on protesters and the surveillance and harassment of Iranian Australians. She expressed condemnation of Iran's crackdown on protests, execution of protesters, and oppression of women and minorities. Earlier this week, she announced financial sanctions and travel bans on 14 individuals along with 14 entities. So again, it's really important to make sure that whatever news outlet that you're relying on, especially if it's an Islamic Republic news outlet, that you go and check other sources to make sure the facts are straight.
So you mean we shouldn't trust the regime?
Listen, I'm just relaying it.
Let's go talk
Do with
about
that what you may.
updates about protesters and detainees.
Yes. So Bahman Bahmani, are you familiar with his name?
Yeah, of course.
He is a gentleman. He's in critical condition right now. He has been on a 25-day hunger strike in Ize. He's the gentleman that the IRCG is basically saying killed Kian Pirfalak. Kian Pirfalak's parents are clearly denying this. They're saying this is not the man who killed our son. And this man is still, basically, he's being pressured to confessing to killing. And we know what pressured means. He's under severe torture. So please, hashtag Bahman Bahmani, share his story. Kian Pirfalak's father, by the way, if you guys aren't aware, he was also shot. He didn't pass away, but he is confined to a wheelchair. His mother has been harassed. She's lost her job. They're preventing her from getting more work. Other individuals that we should know, there's 4 hashtags that I'd like to highlight. Mohsen Mazloum, Mohamed Faramarzi, Wafa Alzarbar, Pejman Fatahi. They were abducted and tortured. They're at risk after their confessions to espionage. Their confessions were rebroadcast on Islamic regime television, which we know they basically forced them under terrible torture and duress to confess to crimes they didn't commit. So let's please keep them top of mind. Obviously, there's 2 gentlemen that we've been speaking about for the past couple of weeks. Habib Shar, he is the Swedish Iranian, and there is also Jamshid Sharmat. He is the Iranian German journalist and engineer who've been wrongfully accused of crimes in Iran and sentenced to death. And let's not forget Reza Nowrouzi. Last year, he basically stood in front of cameras and advocated for Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi and stood behind him, and he's been basically arrested and tortured since then. So a lot of compatriots to keep in mind. And we understand there are many more. If there are certain ones you would like to highlight, please do share, but we try to add new ones every week as we go.
Thank you. What are the action items this week? What are the hashtags we're following and should be using?
We keep going with the IRGC terrorists. Hopefully some of these countries will pick up, and if it's a dozen people at a time, we'll take a dozen people at a time and get them listed on the international terrorist list. Save Sharm, hashtags Tumaj Salehi, Saman Yassin, who we haven't heard of in a while. So listen, if your passion is music, talk about the musicians who are held. If your passion is women's right, pick a couple of the women. Elnaz Mohammadi, Elahi Mohammadi, Nilufar Hamedi, who are the women who help break the story about Mahsa Amini. And again, hashtag Mahsa Amini, hashtag Iran Revolution.
Thank you so much. Parashun, a final message for our listeners, please. Drum roll.
If you have goldfish in your half scene, please put them in a tank. Fish have feelings. Please take care of them. And it's not a Zoroastrian tradition to confine animals for our pleasure. That's number 1. Number 2, our language is called Persian and English. And Farsi, وقتی به فارسی حرف میزنیم. Peace.
Wonderful. Thank you again, as always. Appreciate you. زن زندگی آزادی. با امید آزادی. Have a great day.
Bye.
Great night, Parashun. Bye-bye. All right. So up next, we have Shiva Saber that's going to be joining us. Shiva, make sure you press request to join. And then we have Dr. Sam Rasul for a quick segment about posture and weight loss. And then we have the lovely Chelsea Hart that's going to be joining us around 8:35 Eastern Time. Thank you so much, Chelsea. I think you're in the chat. Appreciate your patience. Can somebody go knock on Shiva Jun's door? Because she should be here right now. And if not, then maybe Sam will join us. Shiva, it's so funny because Shiva is actually one of the producer of today's program, so it's kind of ironic that she's missing the cue to come on right now. And so I'm hoping that she does come on any second now. She even shared the video with everybody. In the meantime, if you have any questions for Chelsea, I have some great questions for her, but I'm totally open. If you have any questions in the group chat over here, feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll do my best to ask her the question. In the meantime, here is Shiva Saber. She wanted to make a grand entry. You know what I mean? Hi, Shiva Jan, how are you?
Hi, sorry, I was having some technical difficulties.
No problem. Also, we were like, for once, we're 1 or 2 minutes ahead of schedule. So you were probably just not expecting 8:20 start time.
Yeah.
Great to see you. So first of all, give a nice round of applause to Shiva Jun for producing today's episode. For those of you watching or tuning in for the first time, these IG lives are actually a good amount of work. A lot of people are involved behind the scenes, and I greatly appreciate you. So thank you so much, Shiva, for being a guest today or contributor.
Absolutely.
So, what we wanted to talk about in this 5-minute segment is, what is Unite and Conquer doing right now? What is like the focus? And it's pretty much just Countdown. And you're now going above and beyond and helping out with the social media team. First of all, why are you being involved in Countdown? Why are you now taking another responsibility to, amplify the program through the social media stuff? Tell me about why you're doing it and what kind of help we need in case anybody watching wants to be a lending hand.
I wanted to be involved because, we all need to do our part as part of this revolution and bringing freedom to Iran. And one way that I knew that I could get involved is through joining. First of all, it was joining through Unite and Conquer. And second is, hey, I'm good with social media. I enjoy doing multiple things. And, there is a huge group of people at part of Unite and Conquer's team that are become like my family, and I enjoy doing this with them. So why not? I'm doing my part, very little, but I'm doing my best to help with this revolution.
It's a lot, and we appreciate it. Now, what kind of help would we need in case somebody over here is like, I wouldn't mind getting more involved, specifically to the social media part?
So as part of the Unite, as part of the Countdown, we have put together a social media team. So what we need is a lot of people, or if you feel like you are tech savvy or you're good with posting contents, we need a lot of people helping with that. And as part of that, you will be creating contact, you will be sharing contact, and in many ways, we are looking to amplify the voice of the Iranian people, but also bring more viewership to what we are doing here as part of the Countdown show. So we are looking for people that are willing to join us and help us with social media and engaging more viewers and getting the voice of the Iranian people and the Uniters out there. And as a result, bringing more sponsorship, so we are able to do a bigger project and take on more projects that would make a bigger noise out there.
Yeah, and if there are any editors out there, graphic designers, video editors, or just people that love to create content in general, and they have like these ideas and they just want to kind of produce it, but have other people actually edit it. These are the type of individuals that we would truly benefit from having as part of our team. And like, I think it's this is a matter of being on all different platforms as much as possible to get people to come watch this program. I feel like for all the work that we put in, we'd love to have a few thousand people tuning in, because that's when we can make much more impact. It's great that we have a couple hundred people at all times, but our diaspora is 8 million people. And many of them are English-speaking Iranians that we want to be able to literally speak to, because they don't have a home to kind of go and find the latest news. I don't read Farsi or Persian. Oh my goodness, Paris is going to kick my ass. And so I think that's very important. I believe you agree too, right? Or else you wouldn't be a part of it.
Nope, I agree. This is a program. There aren't many programs out there that are English speaking for the Iranian community. So we are looking. One of the main goals of this program was to engage the English speaking Iranian. We are trying to get more people out there to help us. Like you said, editors. If you like, creating content. On all social media platforms, not just Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you enjoy doing that, we ask you to join us and help out.
Yeah, and every one of these platforms, they really require a specialization. Like right now, if you put me in TikTok, I'm like lost. If you put me on like LinkedIn, I'm lost. But there's some people that they're just so much, like I'm comfortable on Instagram, but we need specialists in each kind of category. And right now, we're definitely short-staffed, as they say. And so if anybody is interested, please message us. You get to work alongside the fabulous Shiva Saber, who for the last 5-6 months has truly gone above and beyond with what we're doing. And so it would be a great opportunity to work with a fellow freedom fighter like Shiva and the rest of our social media team that we're growing together slowly but surely. So
Absolutely. Come join us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Shivajan, thank you so much. It was a great short segment with you, and thank you again for producing the program and all that you do with us.
No, thank you for having
Have
me.
a great rest of the night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right. All right. So as we keep on chugging along, it's always a fun time when I invite Dr. Sam, the stress doc. We had a great time at the Celebration Nowruz live stream. He did his imitations, impersonations, and it was great. It was funny. And it was also educational. And that's probably how this is going to be. Oh, we're doing the last shot of Michael Jordan here?
That's the last shot. Because you know why? Because he's Superman. And I had to wear my shirt for that. And I got a special reason why I'm wearing this goofy shirt just for you, Iman John. No, but we're talking about posture, baby. We're talking about posture today, and I wanted to share this with the lovely audience. Yeah. Posture is so important. And the reason I'm wearing the Superman shirt, as silly as it looks, and it gives me some abs, you know, so I don't have to work out. I got some abs right here. There you go. Is it actually how you stand can affect your weight loss? I mean, think about that for a second. You know, a lot of people, you know, obviously with what's going on in Iran and what's going on in our daily lives, we're constantly on our phones and we're sitting and standing and walking, literally not looking where we're going, looking down like this. And what does that do to you, Iman John? It creates a whole series of problems.
And what are they? you left me at the edge of the seat, you know, literally. Tell me more.
I had you're like, I had to give you a little nugget. No, basically, you know, poor posture, Iman John, it creates so many things, such as increasing your cortisol levels by up to 25%. And cortisol, what is it? It's the hormone that helps your body store fat. So by the way you stand or sit could actually be increasing your cortisol levels by 25%. So you're going to be storing more fat, even if you're working out harder, eating right, and everything else. And for all those guys out there, it actually, sitting and standing in that poor posture where you're caved in like this can actually decrease your testosterone by 8 to 10%.
What about hormone levels? Are they are the changes in hormone levels really that drastic?
It really is. It really is. Like I was saying, the cortisol levels will get increased by 25%. So you're going to store more fat. You're going to decrease your testosterone for men. And actually, it causes disruptions for a lot of women. They'll get their estrogen, progesterone level to be all.
Since you're wearing your Superman outfit, there's something like a super pose or a proper pose that we can kind of use so that we reverse the imbalances to our hormone levels?
That is why I like
you. Wow,
you.
We have the Kazakhstani Superman, too. This is great. Dr. Sam is on point.
That's right. Yes, and I. But yeah, the reason I'm wearing the Superman shirt is because go figure, the Superman pose, and it's so easy to remember for all the viewers out there, the Superman pose can actually help you to get more oxygen to your blood, you know, to your lungs, which is going to get it to your blood. You're going to be able to balance out your hormones, your cortisol, which is a fat storage hormone, your testosterone, your estrogen, your progesterone for women. So it's very simple. You want to stand up straight, and obviously it's cheesy if you put your hands like this, but what you're trying to do is you puff your chest out, and you almost want to stand up straight just like so. If you want to put your hands on your hips and do a little turn and do the strike the pose, do it while the cape is flying in the air. What you're doing in that position is you're actually pulling your shoulders back. You're puffing your chest out so your diaphragm can descend. You're getting more oxygen to your lungs and to your blood, and you're able to allow the diaphragm to descend down. So you're actually helping your digestion. You're helping your, like I said, cortisol levels, your adrenal levels. List goes on and on.
You know,
just by standing.
And it's funny, every episode so far I've been standing. Today I'm sitting, so I'm messing up everything right now. By the way, the funniest comment of the day so far goes to Mona Nadvi. I don't know if you saw it right now, but she's like, to be fair, most men already have enough testosterone. So, you know, and considering it's like 90% females in this chat, like this is just, you just gave them really a lot of stuff to kind of get a nice laugh on. So Mona, doing great job. I feel like you said that with a glass of wine in your hand, Mona, but okay.
You know what's funny is, Mona John, I agree.
What are you doing? Are you an idiot? You don't agree to disagree when there's all these women on this damn thing? This is why you need to lower your testosterone, man. You know, but she's agreeing to disagree with a woman who some men just never learn.
That's too much testosterone as it is.
Oh man. But go ahead, agree to disagree, please.
No. No, it's just so funny because it's and Iman Jan, it's so funny because I read about it all the time, and they're saying like more and more men are having problems with testosterone levels. More and more women are having hormone problems as they get older. And it's like hormone replacement therapy. And go figure. I'm not saying this is going to end all that. I'm not saying anything taking a drastic measure, but I am saying that, really being mindful of your posture can go a long way. So, just really taking breaks. If you're at your computer for a long time, you're on your phone, really try to kind of get that posture in the right position. And so you can keep your body in balance, not just testosterone and estrogen, your sex hormones, but also your cortisol levels, which is helping your body store fat. As a society, the obesity epidemic is getting out of control. Go figure, making choices of what you eat, how you exercise, but also how you stand and you sit.
Sam, you'd be very proud. I have my personal training session this morning, so I'm about to pump it up.
Listen to me now and understand me later. You're going to pump it up, get stronger, good posture, okay? Listen to Superman. Listen to Michael Jordan, okay?
This is what you call the ultimate assist. I give you an assist right now so you can lean into doing the Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's how we do it, man. I appreciate you. And if Chelsea just joined in, meeting you for the very first time, I'm sorry for you, Sam, because she probably has absolutely no context. She's like, what on earth did I agree to sign up to be on this freaking IG Live today? But Stress Talk, appreciate you, man.
Listen, I appreciate you. And like I said in the other night, listen, read my lips. The countdown's the greatest show. If you're not watching it, you're missing out. You're missing out on the countdown.
By the way, I spoke to Tehran today, and the whole thing about making a comedy show, a program happen here in Miami, we're going to make it happen. And so like that you opening spot is there for you. You're going to be doing impersonations. That George Bush one is amazing. Like you actually have legitimate impersonation skills at a high level. They need to be done on stage.
Thank you so much, sir. If you ever want to see me sweat and turn ghost white, put me on stage. We'll see what happens if I have to open up for a guy like Tehran. But thank you so much, Iman Jan. I cannot wait for the rest of our people presenting tonight. And thank you for having me on,
appreciate you. And fly away safely. All right, take it.
Off I go.
That was excellent. He just has to come back and make sure he presses end. Don't forget, he's probably doing it sideways so he doesn't come back into the screen. All right, there we go. That was pretty talented. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you get health stuff and entertainment at the same time. There's a countdown, you get a little bit of everything. That was great. I hope you guys enjoyed Dr. Sam. Make sure you follow him. He puts out a lot of great content that is about well-being and health. And, he really puts a lot of effort into those kind of things. So don't take it for granted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our special guest. I don't even think she needs an introduction. I can't imagine somebody being on Countdown and not knowing Chelsea Hart, not appreciating what they've been doing all this time. But I will give a little brief intro as she comes on. Chelsea is a stand-up comedian turned political commentator with over 1.6 million followers across social media platform. By the way, start dropping some hearts as they will be coming on shortly. They have fused their years of comedy with their passion for history and turned it into a massive following, having become one of the most outspoken non-Iranians against the Islamic regime on the planet. I'm going to remove that one word where it says one of the most. They are the most outspoken non-Iranian in support of our movement. So please put your hands together virtually and help me welcome the wonderful, the fabulous Chelsea Hart. Good evening, Chelsea.
Hi.
How are you? Great to see you again.
Good to see you. We are here. Hello, everyone.
I know. I feel like you've done so many interviews. You probably don't even remember that you were on our 11/11 live stream rally back on November. But
No, I remember. I don't do that many interviews. I'm not famous.
You've been a busy bee. So as always, I'm sure you hear it a lot, but I don't think that we can ever thank you enough for what you're doing. So from the get-go, we appreciate you. We love you. We're so grateful for you, honestly. So that's got to get that out of the way. And Nowruz Piruz, because you're honorary Iranian. So Nowruz Piruz to you.
Nowruz Piruz, Nowruz Mubarak to everyone.
So let's get right into it. It's very, one question I'm very curious about is that it's very difficult to always be factually correct with Iran content, but you seem to always really just hit the nail on the head. And I'm curious, do you have like fact checkers, or do you study all the time and kind of get it right? Because that's a lot of pressure to present to such a massive audience.
I mean, so when I initially made my video, I've said this a million times. I made a video, went to bed, woke up the next day, and like all of Iran was in my DMs. It was like, you know, you think the only time you would ever see 1,000 people at once would be a concert, right? And I was getting that like all at once, all of Iran. Like I was like, holy, it was overwhelming. Like it was crazy. And I just said to Iranians, send me things, tell me things, I'll share things, just send me stuff. And they did. And that's kind of like what my guiding compass was to figure out like regime tactics or half-truths that Nyack sells. You know, I didn't first understand exactly how Nyack operated as a manipulator, you know, so it took a little time. But like a lot of I asked Iranians in the beginning, like, send me stuff, I'll share stuff, I'll share stuff, I'll share stuff. And a lot of that was just like Iranian experiences, you know, just little facts, like just people sending me stuff. And they did. And that was kind of my guiding light on what to research, what to know, and just following a bunch of creators that I like. But it took a lot of work. Like it's a lot, but also the other thing is that I think it's important, and one thing I tell a lot of Westerners too is that oppressive mechanisms are oppressive mechanisms in every country. The tactics of the regime to divide Iranians and pit them against each other and keep them fighting, these squabbles, right, and get them arguing with each other, those are the tactics of every motherfucking regime ever.
They've mastered
whether it's colonizers going to India or to Afghanistan or to parts of Africa, it's always the tactic of divide and conquer to keep people arguing with each other. If they're arguing with each other, they're not going to rise up and overthrow you. So I think, you know, these kind of tactics, you know, it is in Iran, but a lot of the mechanisms that we see different versions of them mirrored repeatedly throughout our world. And I think that's actually important to remember, because a lot of people approach this like, oh, it's so complicated. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of things to understand. But at the end of the day, these guys are dehumanizing Iranians in a way that so many people have been dehumanized. And, you know, it's happening in Iran here, but similar divide and conquer tactics have happened in other places that we've seen.
They all read the same manual. We have to go find
and then the regime's propaganda is so Soviet-esque. It's embarrassing. I remember the first like couple of days, like they were like, "Oh, the West is coming to get us." I was like, "What is this Soviet complaining playbook that I'm seeing?" It was so embarrassing. Like they're all 80 years old. Yeah. It's so funny.
It's dangerous. We need to get to the bottom of it. One thing that I wanted to get your opinion on, and I'm sorry if you talked about it, but I missed it, is the Nowruz lunch that the Biden administration hosted. And I was just very curious what your personal opinion was about. I don't know if you watched the video of them, like Jill and Joe talking. What's your overall impression of the program?
I mean, they were going to do it anyway. So here's the thing. Here's my hot take, whether it be, so I said this about Masih al-Najjad's interview with Jordan Peterson. I actually said a very similar line of things. You know, I don't necessarily have to like the event. I don't have to necessarily like the context of the event to know that I would rather have real Iranians in that room rather than the regime. Anywhere that there's a space to have Iranians, if we can get real Iranians in there, yes, it's going to be performative. Yes, Joe Biden is a fruitcake, but I would rather he have real Iranians in that room rather than the regime. Like, he was going to do it anyway. He was going to do his virtue signaling. He was going to take his pictures. I would rather he take them with the DJ Azadi rather than treat a Parsi. So, like, he's with a real Iranian, right? So he's with a real Iranian. Azadi is a real Iranian who's been vocal for the revolution, you know. I would rather him have that person in that room with those fake performative pictures rather than taking a picture and endorsing Trita Parsi.
What, may I ask? Did you get an invitation?
No, no.
Did you expect an invitation?
No, I no. I fully did not expect
if you would have gotten invited, would you go?
Yeah.
And then if you had a chance to talk to President Biden, is there something you would say with regards to Iran, considering all that you now know about Iran and Iranians the past 6 months? What would you say to him?
I would ask him his opinion on the opposition force, because that's really where we need to start focusing. Is we have a tangible opposition force in exile. We have one. We need to be supporting them. We need to be asking politicians how they are supporting them. That would be my main question, is what is your opinion on the maximum support initiative set out by Nufti and the opposition force? That would be my only question.
Nice.
American policy, those are for the finer details of politicians who've been doing this for years. I think my only question would be like, what is your opinion on this opposition force that is now forming in exile, right?
Yeah. And that's why it would have been great to have some of the opposition leaders invited there. I feel like, so all those, any of those or all of them would be great. And then honestly, I believe individuals like you should have 100% been there to represent, other perspectives, and like there's a lot of great people there. A lot of my friends, they went there. But I would have loved to have seen you. I would have loved to see Massa Townsend. I would have loved to see, individuals that just may have different opinions, because it's helpful for the entire diaspora to see multiple representatives, and so I wish you were there.
He was going to do it regardless. And I'm just happy it wasn't a room with Trita Parsi in it.
That's right.
I'm just happy that, and I really feel like the days of NIAC being able to worm their way into progressive spaces are really over. And that was a nice change in tone, because while, some of these assholes have been able to get on interviews still during this revolution, it's nice to see the Biden administration distancing, like maybe I'm reading into it. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it is nice to seemingly observe the Biden administration move away from NIAC, because that's what I got. That's what I got from the Nowruz dinner. It felt like it, as performative as it was, it did feel like a gesture of, there's no NIAC here. Like, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but that's what it felt like. It did feel like maybe the Biden administration has taken a couple notes now. Maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully.
He still hasn't fired Robert Malley, so maybe
I was gonna say it's great not to have Trita Parsi, but it'd also be great to get Robert Malley out of the DC, basically. So
yeah,
he's
a white man. The other one's a white man. They're 100 years old. They're gonna be friends. Like, I just feel like they're like, that's the 100-year-old white man for me. I don't know. They're just gonna be buddies.
Chelsea, like so 6 months in, all the stuff about Iran is obviously very heavy. And I'm very curious if it ever gets too much for us Iranians, and I'm just wondering, does it get too much for you? How does that impact you? And like, I'm sure it impacts you because you've been so in it. What do you do to kind of balance out, to take care of yourself, to just make sure that we got you strong and healthy, because this is a long-term effort, unfortunately.
I definitely have to set boundaries. The regimes, they really fuck with your brain. Like, some of the trolls that they send, they're mean, and especially with somebody like me, and I'm very open about my mental health and my struggles and stuff. So I have to step back sometimes, because those regimes, the things they say are just, I have to take time away. The way they go after you, the way they try to, it's very creepy and mean. So I have to, I do have to take some time back. I've taken a couple breaks here and there.
What do you do? How do you handle them? Like, do you just try to disengage, but sometimes they just really get to you and you find yourself arguing with them back and forth? Or
no, I don't engage. I don't engage with negative people. I don't engage with trolls. I don't engage with haters. They want a reaction, and I'm just not going to give it to them. I know who I am. And I think I just want my work to speak for itself. I want people, if they connect with my stuff, to connect with my stuff and just present myself as honestly as possible. So I don't interact with those guys. They want my reaction. They want to know, you know, if they've upset me. So I just disengage, because at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of, and I just want to keep that up.
Would you say that's like the biggest challenge that you face as a non-Iranian content creator that's, you know, putting the Iran revolution at the forefront? Or do you have other challenges that you'd like to share with us?
I mean, yeah, I've gotten non-Iranians saying some shitty stuff about it, but like, my only rebuttal is, your only time talking about the Iranian Revolution is to shit on me. Like, that says your priorities just out in the open. I've gotten a few people, like, non-Iranians saying some shit, but I just don't pay attention to it. I try to just focus on, you know, the main picture. But no, I think the Iranian people have been very welcoming, and that makes it very worth it. Like, the support, I can't stress enough, the support is so appreciated, because it is hard. They really go after you. They really, like, you know, Masih, they tried to kill her. Like, this is like the very scary waters to be in, right? So it's just, the support is very, very appreciated when it's those kind of stakes. When it's those kinds of stakes, the support is just so appreciated.
So I ask all my guests usually that, you know, when Iran becomes free and you go to Iran, what do you do? My question is multiple. When Iran becomes free, do you have a desire to go to Iran? And
yes.
If
oh
so,
my
where?
God.
Well, I don't know what degree, but tell me, like, right now Iran is free and you're flying right now. Where are you flying to? Where are you going? Who are you going to go see?
Okay, so this show that I'm writing, when Iran is free, the show that I'm writing right now, I'm gonna be performing it. I'm gonna be doing it around the country.
You got to come to Miami.
That's
We'll take care of it.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to come to Miami, and maybe I'll message you after.
Yeah.
But I want to bring it to Iran. I want to film it in Iran if we can. Hopefully, Khomeini is gone by then.
What can you tell us
I'd
about
love to go to Iran. I don't think people realize, like, I did have some like contextual understanding of ancient Persia, just because I speak Hindi, and there's so much Persian in Hindi and Urdu, and it's held to such a high regard because Ghazal poetry came to India via Persian influence, and it's very regarded in India. Ghazal poetry is very highly regarded. I love Ghazal poetry. I love Urdu Ghazal poetry, and so for me, for years, I had an appreciation of Persian influence and Iranian influence. So I'm very keen to go. I'm very keen to see. I'm very keen to you know, to absorb some of these works, because I have had like years of just an appreciation of the influence of Iran, which is also why it was so easy for me to make content, because I kind of already like, oh, Iran, like, let's go, like, the poets, come on, like, I was ready. So I'm very excited to go to Iran, because I just know there's so much art, so much creativity, so much vibrant things to look forward to. So I'm definitely planning.
You know, like, I'm just envisioning this, is that literally, if like Iran, God, how amazing would it be if Iran is free in a couple of weeks? You will literally have an entire plane of Iranians that will want to be on the plane with you, and then when you land in Tehran, you're going to have thousands of people that cannot wait to hug and kiss you and welcome you, and it's there's no doubt about it, and that's incredible. I mean, that's really what you deserve, Chelsea. I mean, like, I can tell on behalf of millions of Iranians, what you've done is out of this world. I can't even put it into right words, how amazing what you've done is, and how you're going to be truly showered. Like, the Iranian hospitality is going to be
I heard about that. Yes.
Full-fledged.
I knew a girl. So it's funny. This is actually going in the show, because I had a friend, Patrick, for years, who's half Iranian, half Irish, but he grew up with this Persian family. So he's very, very bubbly. And that was like my first impression of Iran. And then I had a friend go to Iran with her mom, 2 women alone in Iran. And like, I didn't know anything about Iran. I was like, how was that? It was literally, she just said to me, like, it's my favorite place. Like she just went like I'm gonna go to Iran. She went and she's like, I want to go again. I want to. So like I've already seen it. Like people love it. I think too because they've been so demonized, and they're such warm people that like when guests do come to Iran, they do it like extra, like they have something to prove. So I'm very excited for the possibilities of a free Iran. I think like we as a world have been missing out on this important part of our world. Iran has never been alone like this. Iran has never been cut off. It's in the middle of it all. It's in the middle of the intersection. So for Iran to be as isolated, as demonized, as hated, as cut off, it's never happened before. So I'm very excited, and I'm confident that we're gonna see a better planet once Iran is free. And I'm confident it's not gonna take a lot of time to repair the economy because there's so much natural resources in Iran. Like we are looking at another renaissance. We are looking at a free Iran. We're looking at a second Arab Spring. It is a rearranging, and that is why you have these dictators, Saudi Arabia, China, the Islamic Republic, all of these places are petrified. China, the CCP is on its last legs. It's on its last legs. They do not have the support of their citizens. That's why they brutalize them. We are looking at a reckoning about to happen. And I think it's going to start with Iran. It's going to be a seismic power shift, and we're going to see a lot of good things unfold afterwards.
From your mouth to God's ears. Chelsea Joan, I know I was only going to take 15 minutes of your time. Appreciate you making time. If you have a closing message, any words, anything that you wanted to share, the virtual mic is yours before we bring you down to Miami and all of South Florida comes and shows you love.
You're doing a great job. As hard as it seems, as discombobulated as you feel, the unity is there. The unity is there, and I cannot stress that enough. The unity is there. The common goal is there. And I think that's a really important ingredient of this revolution that just hasn't shaken. You know, we have the monarchists versus the leftists. We have this ideology versus this ideology within the Iranian community. But even in those squabbles, the end goal is there. Like we're all pointed in the same direction. And that's amazing. And I want you to remember that you're doing a great job. The unity is there. Just keep your eyes on the prize. Don't get caught up in little things. Keep your eyes on the prize. The regime isn't gone yet. We can do it, and we will do it.
Beautiful words from a beautiful person. Thank you so much, Chelsea Hart, for joining us. I hope that this is an incredible year for you as well, and that we will all be on the same plane with you going to Iran. That'll be a fun flight.
Awesome.
Khudafez. Much love.
Khudafez.
Thank you. We'll be in touch about Miami. We'll make it happen. Take care.
Yes.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what a distinguished pleasure it was to have this individual, this incredible soul, a part of this program. I don't know about you, but I feel more energized. I feel more optimistic. I feel more hopeful. It truly is it's like fuel, you know, like you need fuel like this. You need to like really like talk to individuals like this so that you can use it to get up next day, fight harder, fight smarter, continue to unify, continue to unite and conquer. And so I want to thank everybody that joined this program today. I want to thank my fellow producers for helping out. You all have been amazing. You've allowed us to create this amazing platform that allows all of us to come over here and talk and learn and inspire and motivate and educate, and to have really amazing individuals in our revolution to come on and share everything that Chelsea just shared. You know, it's really amazing stuff. So thank you for joining. Don't forget, if you've never joined this program before, this is Countdown to Freedom in Iran. Every single Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we come here for a 1-hour program. It starts with news and updates with the incredible Paris Mansouri. And then we have a multitude of different segments. Sometimes it's a health segment, a wellness segment, a mindful moment segment, a mental health segment, a Uniter segment where we share more updates about what we're doing at Unite and Conquer. If you don't know Unite and Conquer, follow our Unite and Conquer YouTube channel, please. Subscribe to it. We are, our mission is very simple, to unite Iranians via digital content, via events, sometimes in person, sometimes like a 12-hour live stream that we did on Monday, and then, of course, impactful conversations. I hope that this was an impactful conversation for you. And next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, our guest is going to be Bahram Moshref Nouri. You probably know him better as Bahram and Behamin. That powerhouse of a beautiful and good-looking couple have been really, really doing their best to use their platform to be the voice of Iranians. And so next Wednesday, it's going to be Bahram. We needed to have a gentleman. You know, it's great to have all these Iranian females, but, you know, or females in general. But I was like, you know what, we need to have a man. We need more testosterone in Countdown, you know, to just annoy the females here. I'm just joking. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure. And I appreciate you for joining in. If there's any constructive feedback, don't be shy to message us. If you have any requests for guests that you would like to have on an upcoming episode of Countdown, please let us know in Baname Shomaz. This is your program. You know, that's really what it's all about. So look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, if you are a graphic designer, a video editor, a content creator, a director, a producer, a social media management nerd, a social media aficionado, a tech-savvy person on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, we need your help. We need more people to create more content, to take episodes like today, chop it up, distribute it all over different social media. We should be able to have the biggest platform of English-speaking Iranians that are having their main focus be a free Iran. We don't have that. If you're an English-speaking Iranian, we don't have something like this. And we should have a lot more people that are watching Countdown every Wednesday. We should have more Countdown episodes every week, not to scare off our producers, but you know, we should have other people that are hosting programs, et cetera, et cetera. We need to grow our community. We need to strengthen our community, and we need to unite and conquer. So without any further ado, I will go ahead and say, Shab Bekhair, Toodaloo, Ba Umid Azadi. Ciao.